everybody, and welcome to my video today. I am sharing with you my summer mini album. This is how it's coming together. I'm using these loose leaf pages from Hepa. She is my little journal on YouTube here, and she does the scrappy spiral notebook, and she sells these loose pages that aren't in a spiral, and that is what I'm using for my mini summer album. This is just something fun that I'm doing, just a creative project this summer. And I am totally basically caught up with project life. I have May put together, and I've been working on my week in the life album, which I did. I took the photos in May, and so I've been sharing that in my membership group. You can see process videos for that, but I've been in the thick of sorting photos and editing photos, printing photos, cutting photos down, getting them in albums, and that is not the most creative part of memory keeping. That is really the tedious part that is sometimes hard to make yourself do. And so in between working on that, I've been working on this little album. I found this idea here on YouTube from a gal. I'll put a link to the video I saw. It was she does this like every year where she does the amount of summer days between she's a teacher between the end of school and the beginning of school, and then that's what she names her album. So like this year it's 83 days of summer, and I think she does like a story a day kind of thing. I'm not doing a story a day. I'm just doing some fun stories that I can put in here and use some summer product. I am printing my photos on sticker paper, and so what you're going to see here is, because this is a project where I don't need these photos to be super high quality, like that's not what I'm looking for. A lot of these stories, at least, you know, like this summer shed project we're doing, one of the photos are going to end up in my project life album, and that will be a more high quality photo. So what I've been doing is printing these photos that go in this album on sticker paper, and then that way it is thin as I'm putting it here on this album, and I have not figured out how I'm going to attach it yet. I'm just doing the pages. Some of these pages I'm totally covering up, like the one you just saw right next to it that had the 4x6 memory card and then the 4x6 photo. I'm just covering up the whole thing, and I'm not using the boxes that are on here already. And then some of the pages, like this one, I'm actually using the boxes as my layout, and then I will figure out how to attach it eventually, and it will just be this little summer album. I'm not looking to do a story a day or X amount of story. I'm just looking at this as a very creative project. I really am very much desiring to get in and use my product and use my stamps. You're going to see me do some stamping here at the end. This is why I'm posting this this week for my Project Life Weekly. For one, I don't have any project life to work on. And then two, this is actually what I'm working on and enjoying right now. And then also I'm doing some stamping on here, which is so fun. And I do still have one video left in my stamping series. I think I will add this to my stamping series video, because I'm going to use some alpha steps here at the end. But I do have one other video that I just have to get edited and posted for you guys for my stamp series that I did last month or so. And so I will do that for sure. I will get that last video posted. But I thought I would share this with you since I don't have anything to work on for Project Life. I thought I would share this. And right here, you're going to see that I accidentally printed my photo on the wrong side. I printed the sticker paper. You can see like that's the sticky part, and I put my paper in backwards in my printer basically. So at first I was just going to try to, it's very slick. That's the back part of the sticker paper. So I was going to just try to use Terran tape to put it down and not have to reprint, because I didn't want to waste the ink, but it's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to get anything to stick to it. So I will end up realizing very quickly I just need to reprint. Now, I do measure these boxes and then edit my photo down and then add it to a Word document and then print it. That's how I get these this size. I use PicMonkey. So in PicMonkey, I just size the photo that I want and then I save it and add it to a Word document. If you're interested in that process, please let me know and I would be happy to share more of that. So I reprint my photos, and what I've been doing is trimming these down so that there's a little bit of the white border showing. I just feel like for whatever reason, for me, it just looks better with a little bit of a white border showing. I just don't feel like it looks right or something. I feel like it looks weird when I do the whole box for either the photo or the paper that I'm using. So I just trim off like 1/8 of an inch and then I stick that in the box, and you can see it just sticks right down. It's super thin. Again, the quality is not like perfect, but that it's just really not what I'm interested in, is it being perfect quality. You could definitely just print these photos. If I had a like photo printer, like maybe I would make the quality a little bit better, but for this project, it's working totally fine. And I love the way that this project is coming together. So I got a few stamps from HEPA. You'll probably see the back. I'll probably try to turn the packaging around so that you can see the back, maybe. Yeah, well, sort of. But I love these alpha stamps. You know, I have a ton of alpha stamps and I don't use them nearly as much. And I think one of the reasons, I just mentioned this in my membership video, when I was a full-time Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, it really, when you're a full-time Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're selling Stampin' Up! Product, it's not really about being creative. You're not really in it to be creative because you don't have time to be creative. You need to, if you are doing it at the level that I was doing it, the only concern is getting another class out, getting another paper party out, selling the product that's out that week, and moving on to the next product that's out to sell the next product. So while I was making cards or I was creating classes, I was not being creative. And there was a sense of like, I have to get this done and I have to get it over with because I've got to get on to the next thing. I've got to get on to prepping catalogs or designing the next class or advertising the next thing. And now what I'm finding as I downshift out of that perspective, out of living like that, some of the things that I felt like I didn't like to do, like using my alpha stamps, I love them, but I rarely use them. What I am finding is that it was because I always felt pressured to get to the next thing. And I didn't feel like I could take the time to be creative. And so now I'm downshifting into the space of like, I want to be creative and I want to spend the time doing this, and spending 30 minutes to stamp this out, it's not a big deal because I have the time. And so that has been really wonderful. So what I just did there while I was chatting is I lined up my letters to create the title, and I just wanted to make sure that I would have the correct spacing. And then I always remember when you're laying out your letters that they are probably going to be a little bit closer together, because when you're stamping them, you can get them a little bit closer together. And so sometimes I'll lay my letter stamps out, and then when I go to stamp, they're a little bit off because I've not taken into account that you can stamp them a little bit closer together. So these are brand new stamps, and I need to drop them in my ink pad. No, not really. I need to prep them because whenever you have clear stamps, there's always a film on them when they're brand new, and that will prevent your ink from soaking into your stamp and you won't get a really crisp image. So you can prep them by rubbing them on your hand or taking an eraser to them. I take a very fine nail file. It's one that I use for paper, and I just prep the surface of the stamp. You'll see that it turns white, and then I get the ink onto the stamp, and then I always do a test stamp to make sure that everything's going to be crisp. I'll end up using 3 colors from Concord and Ninth. I think it is Clementine, watermelon, one I can't say, that's a plant that you'll see. And then the bright green one is actually a yellow one at the end. I will realize that that yellow isn't going to work, and I will end up pulling out another Concord and Ninth. That one won't work, and then I will settle on my Stampin' Up! Go to Crushed Curry for my yellow. And what I'm stamping out is Shed Project. So we have a shed in our backyard, and over the years it needs a little repair on one side of it, and then there was just a lot of stuff like if you followed me for a long time, you'll remember my Cricut boxes from several craft rooms ago. I kept all of my Cricut boxes because they were such fun boxes with a little magnetic closure, and I used to do a lot of crafty projects with them. And I kept them and I put them out in the shed, and then I haven't touched them in 10 years. So I guess it's time to get rid of them, right? So we're doing this big shed project in our backyard. My husband has a ton of tools. We're organizing all of them. And then he's got like table saws and I don't know, all the boy things that they have. And Andrew's getting into using some of that stuff. And so they want a better space out, out in the shed. So my husband and my son are doing the repairs on the side, but we had to move everything out and get everything cleaned up and get, trash taken out. And so the title of this is going to be Shed Project. And then I think you already saw that, where I dropped like a lid or something, and I had to pull all the letters off, which was fine. And then there's a little bit of like little crumbs from when you file your stamp and then you wipe it off, it sheds a little bit. So all of that is on there. That's what all of that stuff is. And then I'm just rotating the colors. Towards the end of this, I will not want the yellow and the orange right next to each other because they're very, very similar. I wish I would have chosen a different orange. So I will, I won't follow this pattern of the 4 colors right next to each other. You'll see that. But you can see that as I'm stamping, you can get your letters a little bit closer. And then off to the side, I have the packaging just so I can make sure that the letters are going in the right direction. This is a really fun font, and I love fonts. I love alpha stamps. I love fonts. I have hundreds of fonts on my computer that I use and do different things with, and I just love it. And so this was a really fun one. I feel like I stamped this a lot better. Like I was able, right here, I don't want the J and the E. I want to switch up the colors, so I will do that. But I feel like I was able to stamp this a lot better. I feel like I got it lined up a lot better. And then right after I got everything stamped, I actually had to leave. I had other things that I had to do, so I had to stop creating, and then I came back to it. At the very end of the video, you're just going to see some finished photos of my project because I forgot to film the very end of the project because I came home and then I just was like finishing putting it together and I forgot to turn on the camera. But I really, really enjoyed stamping these letters, and I just have to say that I had a moment where I was like, it's not that I don't like stamping. I just spent 10 years feeling like I wasn't able to have the time to be creative that I wanted to have. And so because of that, I rushed through projects, and I feel like I'm coming out of that and I'm settling into just having fun once again, really crafting and doing the things that I really love instead of just feeling like I have to push everything out so fast, which is why you're also not seeing a ton of videos from me right now, because I'm actually taking the time to craft and not just trying to push a video out. So I wanted it to say above Shed Project, I wanted it to say summer. And on the summer stamp that I also got, it says, I forget what it says. There's a word above summer. And at first I thought about cutting it off, like just trimming the stamp, like oftentimes I do. But then I thought, well, maybe I'll just try to stamp it, like mask it up. And so what I end up doing is I need to prep the stamp first, and then I need to put the stamp on a block. And then I'm going to take sticky notes, post-it notes. I'm going to cover up the top. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp summer right above shed project. It comes out so adorable. I love it. So again, you'll see a photo of the finished project here in a minute, but you won't see a clip of me finishing it up. I will put journaling in that one white box. I will add a few embellishments around the page, and then that will be the page for that project. I got confused watching myself. So anyways, I hope you enjoy seeing the picture, and then I will be back next week with another project for you guys. I hope you're all doing well, and I will catch you in my next video. Checking out my video. Here on the screen are 2 other videos that you can check out if you would like. If you're a member watching this video and you've missed any of the member videos, or you're new, you can go back and watch older member videos if you would like. Thank you so much for checking out my video, and I will catch you in my very next project.